Morning students, we'll continue with our lecture. We had completed chapter 7 first topic, that is 2D. So today we'll be taking the third topic. First topic was installation, second was 2D, and the third topic is graphics that we'll be seeing. In this lecture we'll be seeing three topics: graphics, physics, and your scripting, normal, how to add a script and code. So three variations are there. Every level you'll be seeing something add on into your application or your Unity game engine. So the first here is graphics. Why do you add graphics? Until and unless you add something, you cannot deploy it, that is you cannot run it. And for deploying that, what do you require is you require to manage those assets. Asset means each and every object which you are adding is called as an asset. So adding and managing those assets is both the components are taken here. So we'll read what is there. So adding and managing assets. In this screenshot given below, you can see a basketball image. Drag that image into your Unity asset folder as shown. So what you have to do is, in your Unity asset folder, priorly what you have to do is, suppose I want to add or I want to see in the scene a moving car. So for that, what I want, first a car object. So for that car object, what I have to do is, I have to add one car into my car picture into my Unity asset folder and save it with some name. Once that is done, in your actual application, what you will be seeing is, you will be seeing the asset object, and what you have to do is click on that object and just drag into your asset view. So again, just revising it, this is hierarchy view, this is scene view, this is asset view, and this is inspector view. So your screen is divided, and the play button. So these are all the things which are there, and the controllers, all the controllers which are there at the very bottom line. So these are the views in which your screen is divided, Unity screen. So what we have done, we saved those image and we have dragged it into your asset view for visualization. After this is dragged, what you have to do, the second one is, you have to see that yes, this is added to your asset folder. Now we'll read further what after. Till now we have just added our ball into our, that is the ball object, basketball, into our project, but not in the scene. What we have done, priorly in this image, we have just added it from the folder to our asset view, not in the scene view. And for that, next step which is being done is, what we will do, we will drag it from the asset view to the scene view. Once it is dragged to the scene view, this process which we have taken, that is folder to asset view to scene view, is called as spirits. And then the system also remembers by this process that we are working on 2D, not in another image effects. So it is the way in which Unity remember that we are working with the image to use in 2D, to use that particular format in 2D functioning, and it is called as sprites. After adding the image to the scene view, once your image is being dragged to the scene view, as you can see the arrow, once it is done, you might observe the change in the inspector with options like sprite renderer and transform. They are other components, they are important components. So what happens is, once, if you can see the change in the prior view, there was nothing in the inspector. But if you can see here, once I have dragged my object or my asset to the scene view, I can see something in the inspector coming. These are the components, and they are called as, they can be sprite renderer, they can be transform, they can be rotation, scaling, all such things. So these, each and everything is called as a component here in the inspector. Transform is used to define the position of the image. So why transform is used? Transform will change the position of the image wherever it is moving. And in the game world, as every object has its position, rotation and scale property, try playing with them, it will give you a better understanding. So there are three components, or we can say three constraints in which your object is moving, and that is position, rotation and scale. So these are the three components in which my object is playing, and with this we can see the better views and we can understand how it is working. Sprite renderer is used to control how sprite is handled on the scene. So why renderer is there? Renderer will handle it how it is moving on the objects. If you click on the play button to test, you will see image you have added with a play blue background. So why it happens is, when you click on the play button, once your everything is done, once you have added the image, your rotation, scaling and all such things are given, what you can do is, once you see that this background will change to blue background while it is running. Why so? Because in the background here see, rotation, scale and transformation is given here, and your color is being given here in the background. What you have done, you have selected your blue. If you select here any other color, that will be seen while running or deploying stage. Next is the background is added by the camera. So camera lenses are fixed, and that is just viewing your object according to the rotation and scaling, because of which whichever color you have set, that will be seen. If you don't want that blue color, you can simply click on the camera option here and just select the color which you want. That will be changed in the by the inspector, and it will be seen in the scene view. Next is physics. Now when I'm saying I just have an object, I can view that object in any of the direction, that's it. But what the physics behind it? When I want it to move, I need some physics to put on it, so that when it drops, when it falls down, when it jumps, when it is moving upward, all such cases I require a physics that is working on it. And for that physics to run, physics in 2D development involves these points. So there are three points which are taken into consideration when we are talking about physics. So first is vectors, second one is rigid bodies and forces, third one is colliders and collisions. So these are the three components in which my physics is working. So the first one, very first, is vectors. So what is vectors? In Unity, we have two classes named vector2 and vector3. So classes which are used in Unity for physics are vector2 and vector3. They are containers for, now they are containers, they will hold the values, numeric values. What they will hold? They will hold numeric values, that is number values, in which format? Floating format, that is decimal format. So vector 2 contains 2 values, vector 3 contains 3 values. So wherever there are 2 values, means 2 dimension where we have to take, we will take, when I want only x and y axis, I will take vector 2. When I want x, y, z axis, I will take vector 3. So vector 2 is used in 2D, vector 3 is used in 3D. So while writing the code in Unity using vector, if you are using a vector class and we want to write a code in 2 dimension, we will not position x and y separately. We will just specify vector 2, which will contain the actual variables. So the variables will be automatically inserted. We just have to use a proper class for identifying vector. Likewise, second one is rigid bodies. Rigid bodies means the bodies which are actually placed there. Now we want it to be moving, and for that what we have to do is, in your project, now this is your normal screen, in your project select your sprite ball. So once your ball has been inserted in scene view, you have to select it. Once you have selected, then click on the add component button. So here you have that add component button here, you have to click on it. Then go to physics 2D component. You have a drop down list type. In that you have to select physics 2D component and select it. Once you have selected it, in that then select rigid body 2D. Once you select physics 2D, you will have options all these. In that you have to select rigid bodies 2D. You have to select that option. Once you have selected rigid bodies 2D, you will notice new row of rigid body 2D is added below your sprite renderer in inspector. So in rigid body 2D will be added to your next row in your sprite renderer, where you have all these values. At this point, if you will run after that this rigid body 2D is been added in your sprite renderer. If you see, if you click on the play button, what happens is, as you start moving the object, like wherever you wish to move it, it will fall down, like it will be visible like it is falling down somewhere. So due to gravity, now gravity if we want to show in the rigid bodies or in the objects, we have the option called as rigid body 2D in the add component. Try playing with it, you make the gravity 0. If you make in the rigid body 2D, if you make gravity 0, then it won't fall, it won't move. This feature is useful to apply force on a rigid body wherever we wish, like some car is climbing a hill, where some game has gun shooters and they want to move the car up and down. That time you can use such type of formats for moving your rigid bodies. Next is colliders and collisions. So rigid body feature is not able to detect collision. Collision is what? When overlapping, rubbing of such images is there, that time we have collisions, which is not applicable to rigid bodies. They can only move up, down, here and there. To detect the collisions, that is overlapping of images, when you want to see, suppose background I have a mountain scenery, in front I have a house, and then in front there is a car moving. So these, in actual, when they are creating those images, they are overlapping those images. And to view it in actually Unity application, what we have to do is, to check it, we have to detect the collision, we have to add a box collider. Box collider means which will select my each and every image when I am actually working on the application, to rectify what is overlapping or what is colliding my every image. And for this, again go to add component. You have to go here in the add component option, that is this one here, because sprite renderer, in sprite renderer rigid bodies and physics 2D is added, now it has come down. So in the add component option, you have to select physics 2D again. In physics 2D, you have to add box collider 2D. Box collider 2D will be added, and you will notice a green boundary to your image. That means a new row box collider will be added into your inspector. With this, then click on the edit collider option. There is an edit collider option. Just click on it, this box. Once you click on it, you will get these options, from which you can change the effectors, you can change the auto tiling, offset, size, all such things. And then you will notice that the image now has some handles. You can see those handles by which you can scale the image, that is, you can increase the image, you can decrease the size of the image collider region. This is how you add a collider to your game objects, that is, to increase or decrease the sizes, to move it in the another direction, to scale it at the other part of the end of the image. You can do it, you can overlap it, you can mirror it, the mirror effect can be given. All such things is possible through collision between them. So this is what is being done in your collisions. Next is scripting. Why do you require script? Now I say I have added objects, I have tried to move them, but I don't know if I put some another value, if I am playing some another tactics in the game, I am not able to play. So for that you require a code, and to run that on that basis, how your program is going to run on that code, you have to develop a proper code to run that objects, and for that you require script. And how do you get a script? In your asset view, you have to go right click and select, you get a list, you have to select C#. When you select, you get a list, in that you have to click on create. When you click on create, you get n number of values: JavaScript, shader, testing, scene, pre-tab, all such things. You have C# script. Just click on that C# script option, you will get the script which you want. In that script, now this is the first one, you have mono behavior class. Mono behavior class is the main class in your script, which is the first one. Using Unity engine, as you can see here, you have public class mono behavior. In that mono behavior class you have two methods, that is the start method and the update method. Start is to start the rigid body moving according to the time seconds which you have given, and update is every each time when you click on the mouse button what updations are being made is given in the update method. So there are two methods in script. Mono behavior is the first class. In mono behavior you have two methods, start method and update method. With this we will stop here for this lecture. We'll continue the next topic in the next lecture. Thank you.